My name is Robert Ashodian. I'm a resident here in the town of Henderson. I'm also a member of the Board of Assessment Review, so I'm familiar with property values. I'm also a member of the Planning Board of Henderson. And today I am speaking on behalf of the Henderson Harbor Area Chamber of Commerce Economic Development Committee. So I have provided a letter which is going to the judges, and I would like to read that letter at this time. The most recent locating of the transmission lines for the Galoo Island project is in complete violation of the intent, vision, and goals for the town of Henderson as described in the comprehensive land use plan for the town of Henderson. This is the plan. It is filled with charts. It is filled with the inventory of what's valuable to this community. It's filled with the needs of this community. This plan was developed with the joint participation of representatives from the Henderson Town Board, the Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, Jefferson County Planning, and the cooperation of others from the community over several years. Surveys were taken. Public forums were held, and a very careful examination was made of the resources of this community. The comprehensive plan was approved in 2004. The comprehensive plan pointed out the many scenic resources of the community and the sweeping views of the lake, harbors, farm fields, and other spectacular views. Those natural resources are at the heart of the economic survival of this community. The comprehensive plan identified historic structures and landmarks, such as the Thomas Dobson House. The comprehensive plan identified the most likely areas for residential development, for residential and small mixed uses, and for agricultural and rural residential uses. They are all in this plan. They are all defined by maps in color. The comprehensive plan also identified and mapped a zone of priority character, an area because of its proximity to the shoreline of Lake Ontario and Henderson Bay was deserving of special focus and attention to preserve the character of this community. The chart on the wall over there is an enlargement of the map that appears in the comprehensive plan. The areas that look like hatches from here are the areas along that shoreline, the areas along the Seaway Trail, the area around the town of Henderson, and the area around Crystal Lake. Those areas are specifically identified as a corridor overlay district. Those areas are specifically identified as a corridor, excuse me, I said that already. See page 52 of the comprehensive plan and the areas on the chart identified as a corridor overlay zone. That's the chart. I encourage you to take a look at it. I encourage the applicant to take a look at it. This zone includes the area approximately 2,000 feet back from our shoreline, areas worth protecting back 2,000 feet from key highways that run near the shoreline, the Seaway Trail, the center of the town of Henderson and Crystal Lake. This area, especially along the shoreline, represents the currently most valuable property and the most likely to be developed in the future. We find it absolutely incredulous that the proposed transmission line goes directly through the corridor overlay zone. The current mapping shows the transmission line coming ashore on the north face of Stony Point, across the zone, across prime agricultural and rural residential land, and back to the corridor overlay zone, where it does not simply cross the zone, but follows it lengthwise, passing close by White's Bay, two marinas, the town's boat launch area, It does not simply cross the zone, but it follows lengthwise, passing by these areas. The proposed transmission line continues through the very center of the overlay zone that includes the Seaway Trail, right there in the center of that map. We see no reference in the comprehensive land use plan for the town of Henderson or in any of the documentation provided. This is a key point. how can a public, or how can we think about building or having a utility of this magnitude built, and there is no reference whatsoever to a plan the communities of this, the citizens of this community put together. That's incomprehensible. We have to conclude that the long-term land use plan was never considered, never reviewed, never even looked at. If it had been looked at, it would appear that overt steps were taken to specifically run the transmission line directly through as much of the town's most valuable properties as possible. We are appalled that such a plan has come so far in total disregard for this community. We ask the Public Service Commission make a thorough review of the content of the comprehensive land use plan for the town of Henderson and the relevance of that document for any proposed siting of the transmission line. We ask that the entire routing process be reevaluated. We ask that no routings include the violation of the corridor overlay zone. Attached to this letter, which I will provide tonight, at tonight's hearing, will be this comprehensive plan. If anybody from the applicant side would like to answer the question right now, I would invite them to do so. Have you ever seen this document?
I can assure you, sir, that question will be asked now that you've raised it quite so pointedly in the evidentiary hearings.
Thank you very much. I have signed the card twice. I have some other comments that I would like towards the end, which will reflect a personal opinion, but I want to get this on the record as a representative, as chairman of the Economic Development Committee for the Henderson Harbor Area Chamber of Commerce, which I can assure you is deeply, deeply involved in looking at what is going on in this town as it regards the transmission line and the Duluth Island Wind Farm project. Thank you very much.